This is Oscar Carmona for Healing Grounds Nursery located in Goleta, California, and I'd like to talk to you about drying rosemary sprigs. It's a very simple process to dry rosemary sprigs, and really any herb can be dried for the purpose of preserving it for a year or two in your kitchen in containers once dried. And basically knowing that when you have dried your plants, they're a little bit stronger in flavor than the fresh herbs, so you don't need to use as many sprigs as you would if you were using fresh herbs. The main thing that you want to do, and here's a rosemary sprig that I have in my container. I think it helps if you cut maybe 6 to 8 inch lengths. You can do these in quantity, but the key thing is to make sure that you lay them out like this flat, which I've lined with newspaper for the purpose of wicking up any extra moisture, and also to keep the dried leaves from spilling out onto the table. I've washed these off. I think it's a good idea to rinse them and dry them before, let them dry sufficiently before you actually begin this process, so that you get off any dust or any dirt that may have accumulated on the leaf surfaces. But it's a very simple process, and I think the other thing to consider is that while we're outdoors at this moment, I'm going to bring these into an area where they're going to get at the most indirect light, but in partial shade is good. So I have multiple trays here, and you can stack them like this so that they are not sitting in the wells of one another, and therefore kind of crunching down on the plants that are in the flats underneath. And this allows for sufficient air circulation. You'll be able to notice that when these plants are sufficiently dried, that these leaves will come off pretty easily, and they'll be crumbly to the touch. And it would take anywhere from a week to 2 weeks if you do it in indirect sunlight. It is possible to put these in a baking dish and put them in the oven at a very low temperature, maybe 120 degrees, and you can have them dried out in a much faster time frame. But this is just a real easy, low-tech way of drying your herbs and preserving them, and then being able to preserve them in jars in your kitchen for a period of time. This is Oscar Carmona from Healing Grounds Nursery located in Goleta, California, and I just spoke to you about drying herbs, in particular drying rosemary.